Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello everybody. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today, we're going to be painting up, or hopefully finishing up, Dormammu. Started on last Thursday. I'm hoping to finish. There's a lot of work to do. We got fire, we got some highlights on the black, maybe a little I want to keep it real subtle. I went ahead and in between times, between Thursday and Thursday, I spent a little time dark shading some undersides of the black armor. So what I did is I mixed some art ink. I did turquoise and brown ink mixed together into some black, and that makes it like really black. It makes a super black color. And so I went in and I put all that on the undersides of all the panels and just to shade it up. And I went in, the little scritch lines that we started, I went and just finished that all over. We might do one more highlight. We'll see how it goes. So instead of me yammering, I'm sure you're all ready to get painting. So let's kick it over to the minicam because that's where the fun begins. Boom, minicam. All right. So we definitely want to get to the flames. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some off-white. And like we've talked before, this is a super important step. Don't get chunks. And we want to paint all the flames with a solid, even coat of this off-white. And this gives us a foundational color for that fire to be bright and vivid. If you paint over this zenithal that I have going on, you're going to get muted tones and yellow pigment on yellow. Yellow pigment, what is used to make yellow paint, the pigment is a very dispersed pigment. So it takes, that's why everybody talks about like, oh, yellow, it takes so many layers. It's just, that's the nature of the type of pigment that it takes to make yellow paint. It's not easy to get it clumped and thick and saturated. So this step helps that process so much. High contrast. So it's all about them high contrast. I have thought about like I thought about like what to paint the flames, and I was kind of waffling back and forth. Like, well, maybe we'll do like mystic blue flames or something like that. But I think most people will want to paint Dormammu kind of classic flame head. And we don't have that opportunity a whole lot, so until we make more Ghost Riders. So that'd be cool to just go ahead and lean into the regular yellow fire of this instead of something weird. You can take the same idea that I'm going to do here on the yellow, and you can apply it to any color you want. You switch up the basically the colors, but the philosophies will stay the same. So you can switch that up, and I think that's a key component to like what we try to teach here on Atomic Mass Transmissions is we're not trying to teach you what to paint, but how to paint. So taking the philosophies from one thing and learning how to apply it to a different miniature or a different color or a different texture. But the philosophies, that's what it's about. Everybody can be creative. It takes a little time, takes a little effort. Open up your mind to new possibilities and ideas. It's a very important step. Learning to take criticism and be critical of oneself. All that stuff we like to talk about. Yeah, and Nate Biangle did Blue Fire on Ghost Rider. I know Schick did Blue Fire Ghost Rider as well on stream, and it was super cool. It's a lot of fun to mix those up. I've seen some really cool community paint jobs that are like different colors. Cosmic Ghost Rider, oh my gosh, like what a cool design. Like that is such a cool design and would make such a neat miniature. And like that story is so wacky. If you haven't read Cosmic Ghost Rider, like pick that up. I'm sure it's in trade. Underside of the flame where my zenithal still black. You want to cover up all that black. Behold my frosty ice pops, he says. This will just go on all these little flame elements. Yeah, Cosmic Ghost Rider is pretty sweet. That whole series has some pretty fun designs that are pretty cool. I mean, I love Ghost Rider's designs, but man, oh man, Prehistoric Ghost Rider, that's a design. Like you have a spirit of vengeance swinging a bone chain with a flaming head riding on top of a flaming mammoth. Like this is life to me. Like it doesn't get any better than that idea. Like seriously, if you haven't looked at Prehistoric Ghost Rider, do yourself a favor and do a quick image search. Red just picked up that MCP core set. Awesome. Welcome. Of course, it's such a good starting point. Got so many tactic cards and characters that are useful for everybody and anyone. It's funny looking back on that. I'm like, oh, so many lessons learned about the plastic design process and philosophy. You just kind of look back on like the decisions made, and you're just like, oh, learn some lessons. It's fun, because that's what it's all about. It's all about learning those lessons, growing and changing, and how would Cosmic Ghost Rider's helmet be done? I mean, it'd be pretty easy to do, actually. Just do a little flaming skull bit that fits inside a clear plastic tube. Alright, this doesn't gotta be perfect. Need to get rid of Nice smooth coat or even coat. I'm not being super particular. Just let it happen. How tall is Dormammu? He's 110 millimeters tall from his feet to the top of that bit of flame. Heavens on Fire had some nice Spirit of Vengeance depictions. I don't think I read that one. I really love the Damnation storyline. That's a cool one with a lot of neat Spirit of Vengeance action happening. Alright. Kicking it up with a little white, a little blue, a little black. And we're going to highlight a little bit more on the black, because we want all these sharp panels to stand out. To give it that shiny effect. That glossiness. I'm just keeping these little and tight. Not sweating too much about precision or placement. Just kind of quickly observing where the light is already sort of accentuated on the measure. From that zenithal prime and washing we did. Nice sharp reflections. Just using just the tip of this brush. Yeah, Damnation is pretty cool. The Spirit of Vengeance, there's like some great Spirit of Vengeance designs, like Carol Danvers and T'Challa. Everyone gets a flaming head. Just little highlights there. Probably need to flip him upside down to get those undersides, so I won't do that on screen. Didn't like that line, so just quickly erase it. Super excited to put this guy on the table. I know VK hasn't shown off the tactic cards, but the tactic cards I'm super excited for. been talking about on streams, like this guy really fits the way I like to play. Like, I love the idea of like a big central focused character just leading my forces. I'll definitely be picking out some 3 threats to go with him. Little highlights I like. I think Schick mentioned it yesterday, not yesterday, Tuesday. Dark Restoration has one of his favorite pieces of art, and I love it too. I think it's a cool piece of art. Trying to go fast. Oops. Don't like that line. Get rid of it. If I can. Doesn't gotta be perfect. I'm not here to make it perfect. I'm not in a painting competition. Alright. That off-white's probably dry. So I'm going to take some warm yellows. Oh, there's a big puddle there. I'm going to avoid that big puddle. I'm going to thin down this warm yellow. This is a pretty heavy wash. If I get some on these little black chunks, that's okay. I can go back and paint those up. That's part of the cleanup step. And this is going to give him that intense effect. Sick goatee. Yellow. Just paint it on there. burst that little bubble that was in there. So we're probably gonna put a wash on this in a second. What's up, Fallout Blood? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I don't know how everybody else is doing. I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Gotta get this Dormammu painted though. We might have a game stream next Thursday with him. Teasers. Oh, I'm theory crafting rosters for Dormammu. Definitely need some 3-pointers. It's so flamey. This has still got a bit of wet there, so I'm gonna go down here. Do the feet fires. Give him the old hot foot. Just work my way around. Some thin, warm yellows. High threats and guardians. I don't know if I put Dormammu in guardians. I mean, they won't be guardians. And I'm letting that be a little thing because I want a little bit of that white to shine through. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to put a couple layers on here of different paint so it'll slowly cover that. Did you see that game against me and Schick? Where he used Thanos and Guardians, and Gamora was just slaughtering everything. It was great. I mean, it's a great game. Not great for my team though. Dormammu and Iron Fist. That's a maybe. Iron Fist definitely has the flames to tie it together. Because I've been thinking about doing like a custom conversion squad for Dormammu. That's like all tied together to Dark Dimension. So I'll do some converting and sculpting and basing, and that'll be like my Dark Dimension, like posse, right? And then I'll be able to take it and play it, and have like a cool thematic paint job on everything. I like doing that stuff. You know, we did it in May for a few games. I think I'd like to do one for Dark Dimension. Cause Dormammu! I don't know if I do Wanda with Dormammu. Too many points. I want 3-pointers. Okay, now this fire. A little blob of white paint should be good enough. If it gets a little mixed, it's fine. So big. And I got him on my little gimbal. So I think I got him a little too high on my gimbal, actually. That's all right. And of course I miss a spot for the white. Because why would I have got them all? Yeah, Valkyrie is actually on my short list. I was talking to Pagani, and Pagani pitched Valkyrie because she's just a good damage dealer. Got some HP. All right, we're getting there. Okay, we're gonna let that dry and we're gonna go back to highlighting our blacks. If you got any questions over what I'm doing, you should ask. I'm just painting along. Mix up some more of my white, blue, black. Yeah, Fab, you got to have something that eats power, right? You can't sit on power. So if you're playing Dormammu and you're taking Asgardians because you want just a ton of power, you gotta make sure you have a way to spend it. You can't just generate it, obviously. So having ways to spend that power is super important. Yeah, keep thinking about this hobby project, and I just haven't quite committed to what I'm going to do yet. But I definitely want to build a Dark Dimension squad. Have them all converted. Although Kevin had a couple ideas the other day. Kevin, our engineer. And I was like, ooh. You know, like, so maybe we'll see what happens. Really focusing on the face for a second. Putting those little highlight lines in. Just a lot of little texture and stuff. Just make that face pop. Starler works well as this group Lockjaw for the Automobile. Yeah, I'm a sucker for Lockjaw. Anytime I can put Lockjaw in a list, I'm kind of there for it. My first ones I went to is Crossbones and Sin. So I'm looking at Crossbones and Sin, Lockjaw, Valkyrie. Those are kind of the tops of my list right now that I have not committed to. But yeah, Dormammu doesn't gain power through damage, right? Maybe tactic cards do something. I mean, playtest, he did work. Just doing our little tiny highlights, just running that brush just ever so gently, just kissing the panel where we want the line. Yeah, crystal is probably an option. Punisher is always an option. You know, sometimes it's, if you want, you can put just on the darkest shadows, just a couple little dots of light. Fabu, Caribou, best believer normal games. If I bring Dormammu, I'm putting those effects down as turning for some warps. Yeah, absolutely. Like, absolutely. Every time I play Dormammu, I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be bringing my Dark Dimension train and being like, "This is my Dark Dimension train. You are now in the Dark Dimension." That stuff was a lot of fun to design and come up with, and then seeing it sculpted just was super cool to like watch that stuff come to life. I agree. I think BK's on the. I don't know if it's BK or Schick on the running the account there, the Atomic Mass account. I think all the Mystic stuff is super cool. Um, Definitely some really neat design stuff that the dev team came up with. Um, so super excited to get that stuff on the table myself. Um, and pretty much every character, yeah, I tend to agree there. Like every time I read a design doc, I'm like, this is gonna be the coolest character ever. Or get the playtest and Flummer or Pagani is just like, okay, so this works like this now. And I'm like, this is amazing. I don't say it's amazing every time. That's hyperbolic. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Let's try it. He's so flamey. Alright, how we're gonna mix I'm gonna try to keep talking. I'm gonna mix up a couple washes here. So I'm just gonna have to keep talking. So give me a topic. Make sure it's something I can talk about. Don't be mean. Don't give me a topic I can't say anything about. Where am I? I'm right here. In beautiful downtown, not quite sunny Everett. I don't think that's true, Fall Blood. So this is just a little like orange and water mixed together. Oh, there you go. That's more true. You have to wait and see what they did. It's very cool. So this orange is going to push a little bit of darkness just to give it some rich flame effect. Just add a little orange to that yellow. Looks like BK and they're taking care of business in the chats. About store dates? That stuff I don't know anything about. Five Blood doesn't want to be telling tales out of school. What I'll do is after this dries, I usually, this is how I usually do fire in like a couple of steps that sort of don't have to go through and do them all at the same, real quickly together. Not like wet blending where you gotta kind of be on the bounce and kind of go step to step quickly. But I usually try to do this layer, move on to something else, let that layer dry, add this, let that dry, move on to something else, come back, do another step. Makes it a little easier to deal with. Are you talking about Dormammu, giving him metallics and then washes? Because if you are, that sounds super interesting. It's definitely how I painted, several things now. I think we did a video on that, didn't we? Where it kind of laid down silvers and put in some other colors over top of it. To change it. What was that? Oh my gosh, that's driving me nuts now. Oh, Mr. Sinister. If you go back and watch the Mr. Sinister stream, that's definitely how I approached it. Yeah, Iron Man is done like that. Any tips for transportation? I don't typically think too much about transportation. I just cut foam out and just shove them in foam. Just shove them in foam. That's how I usually handle transportation. Oh, a carved pumpkin for Dormammu head? That'd be amazing because it's definitely that old school look, right? It's like the way they drew Baron Zemo's mask back in the comics. Those little lines. Such a fun way to show some weird texture. Fire. Yeah, I usually I just cut foam and I don't carry my whole collection. I don't keep minis in foam sitting around. They usually set somewhere else and I take what I want to wherever I'm playing. So I'm a little more, and then I usually buy extra foams that are for big stuff. And then the cutouts, I keep the cutout around. And so if I have a large hole in the foam, I can use the cutouts to kind of push around and hold the mini still. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I mean, I said it made sense to me, but that doesn't mean translate it through the internet. We all know the internet doesn't translate very well. Alright, we're just letting that dry now. Tap the brush. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. Let's take some of this yellow, mix it into some red, and a little bit more red. Nearby these fires, let's put some little highlight dots. Doesn't need to be a whole lot. Oh, it's a magenta paint? Yeah. Magenta look cool on Dormammu. I recently bought a bottle of magenta ink and been playing with it. It's been really fun just to kind of play with that. One of the things I've done is take and mix it into like red paint. And then what that does is by mixing it into red paint, it kind of increases, well, that's a terrible line. Kind of increases the punch of the red. So there's a little flame like right there. I'm just going to kind of overpaint it just so I remember to get it later. Yeah, I've never tried color shift paints. Sorry, Fallout. Let's add a little more yellow. Right there by the foot. Go ahead and get that little flame look that we missed. Tie it back to the flame. There we go. Now, do we want any OSL on the forearms? I'm thinking maybe just a little. So I'm going to really thin this down. And I'm just going to, just the tiniest drop of very thin yellow. Just stretch it out with that second brush over top of that forearm just to give it a yellow hue. So I'm not going full OSL here. I'm just hinting at the color on the miniature. Just to give that black a little life and personality. You can do stuff like this. It's a very watery drop. Use a second brush that's damp. And kind of disperse that paint so it's really mega thin. You're just getting those little hints of yellow here and there in that black armor. I'm going to focus that up around the torso and the headpiece, not so much on the tummy or skirts, and then bring it down here to the feet where the fire is. So it's not really doing OSL, but sort of just hinting at it. Darkman, he's a pretty gentleman. I tend to agree. But I'm sort of a sucker for every major remake. Maybe I'm biased. And I'm okay with that. Alright, this interior cone. I'm going to give it a little more halo of that yellow, because it's really reflecting and containing that fire. I got a bad line there. I'll fix that later. Witchcraft? What are you talking about? I'm just going to tint that yellow all inside that. Oh, if you're worried about it, definitely leave his head off. You ain't gotta, but some people might find it easier. If you find it easier, I say go for it. Alright, the next step I will do, I'll take that yellow. Whoa! I got like 7 minutes. Take some of that yellow, some of that off-white on my palette. We're going to focus on one of the flames, but I'm going to show you this. We're going to just start kicking it up. Our fire glows from the inside. So we want to get rid of that washy bit, but it's still a little wet. But you want to focus this next step down toward the hands. Even though fire glows from the inside, a lot of man painting, you see fire, you can go ahead and paint it sort of quote wrong, and it still looks pretty cool. You know, fire is a formless, shapeless thing that we as man painters have to give form. So you can kind of stylize it, and it'll be fine. someone says you're doing it wrong, tell them I told you it's okay. I'll take the hit. So we're just waiting for that little spot to dry. Still a little damp down there, because I do think that that's too far. It's very easy to tone down. And we can take some of that red and orange, need a little mixing medium, just a little art medium, mix it up. The same philosophy, the fire at the base is the most powerful, the brightest, the hottest. So as it moves away, it gets cooler. So that's where we can start putting in more of those red tones up toward the tips of the flames. I just mixed a little bit of red into the orange. And if you wanted, if you were doing something like, trying to think of a character that would be a good example of this. So you want that fire to look oily and intense, right? You can add black as well and concentrate that way up on the tips, just ever so slightly. And you'll get this really, really oily black flame. Looks like it's just burning dinosaur bones. I'm just going to do this kind of all over. Yeah, red tips and white center. That's what I'm doing. Fallout. That's what you want in fire. It's up to you how you play with it. It's just fire. Have fun with it. Alright, we only got a few minutes. Now's the time to ask your questions before we bounce. I'm just filling in those eyes right now, and then we'll paint them the same colors of the fire to make it really intense. Alright, so join us I'm just going to keep painting again like I did yesterday, instead of kicking over to the out channel and talking, because we're here for the painting, let's be real. Remember, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can join us here on Twitch for Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Tomorrow, you can join in Mr. Wilshire. He'll be painting up something super, super cool. I'm sure. I don't have his itinerary, so, but I know it's cool. And you can always check out us for the latest news, information, and announcements from Atomic Mass Games over at Twitter. And don't forget hashtag Painting Protocol on Instagram, where you post up your Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures based around a theme that we choose, and we pick some of our favorite ones that kind of excite us or inspire us, and we show them off and share them with everybody. So don't forget. What's this month? Have we announced this month? I can't keep track, BK. I need it on the calendar, and then I'll check it. I promise. I'm just gonna wait for BK to answer me, because BK answers me. He's a righteous dude. I'm just gonna keep painting these little highlights, just like this. I'm not going to stop till BK answers me. No, there it is. This month's painting protocol theme is Bump in the Night. So share your favorite Bump in the Night themed paint job. We're going to pick our favorites at the end of the month, and we're going to show them off. So I'm pretty comfortable with this. I got a little bit more work to do. I'm going to do a little bit more highlighting that you've already seen. I'm going to refine the fire that you've already seen and make sure his eyes stand out and pop. But other than that, Dormammu is ready to hit the table and decimate all who stand before him. So, until next week, I'll talk to you later, and go out and be the hero we know you can be. See you later. Dormammu. Dormammu.